Welcome to the Decision Lab podcast, the sanctuary for wellness professionals like therapists, coaches, creators, and more who are looking to over-deliver to their clients.
We uncover the truth behind cutting-edge wellness products by going straight to the founder.
We use our backgrounds in neuroscience, chemical engineering, and marketing to ask the hard questions in order to eliminate bias, misinformation, and fancy marketing language.
Allowing you to make better wellness decisions and recommendations for yourself and your clients.
So if you're a leader in the health and wellness space, welcome. This podcast was designed for you.
Join us every week for interviews that will change how you think about wellness.
What is up, people? Welcome back to the Decision Lab podcast. Pumped to have you. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of sleep, stress reduction, and longevity with none other than Vitalijus. He's the co-founder of Pulsetto and a revolutionary device that harnesses the power of the vagus nerve to enhance sleep and combat anxiety. Prior to Pulsetto, he has 15 years of experience in the corporate world, turnaround management, including a decade of sleep product industry. He's a renowned biohacker and who has conducted a 200-night experiment trying 70 different sleep hacks. Definitely have some questions about that. His passion for optimizing well-being through science and innovation has helped countless people achieve better sleep and manage stress more effectively. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the Decision Lab.
Thanks for the intro.
Anytime. So the first thing that we like to do with people is actually a bit of a surprise. Most people we don't tell people about the first segment, but let me just share my screen real quick and play this for you. We have a special someone who shared a video with us.
Hi, my name is Agne. I'm a Chief Marketing Officer at Pulsetto, and I want to give today a special shout out to someone who's been a huge influence on me, Vitalijus. First of all, he is the best salesman and motivator I've ever met. He doesn't just sell company to potential employees or partners or investors. He makes them feel excited to join and make real impact here. Secondly, he's incredibly hardworking and always pushing things forward. It's like he never sleeps. But guys, he's a certified sleep coach. Most important, Vitalijus is super smart and he is fearless. His knowledge is so high that he can challenge anyone in any department in our company. And I think there are no doors that he cannot open, and team respects him and admires him for that. The biggest impact on me, I think the biggest impact on me was Vitalijus' trust in me as a marketing specialist. But at the same time, he never allowed me to stop growing and improving. So thank you, Vitalijus, for that.
Wow.
Wow,
How beautiful.
really unexpected. I feel like unexpected birthday gift, something like that.
Hell yeah. So tell us a little about who that is and what they mean to you.
I mean, she's my, let's say, right hand. It's a chief marketing officer and the biggest, let's say, growth factor of our company. I mean, because she's doing really great job, and that's why we are one of the fastest growing wellness devices in the world. And that's why in those only 3 years of our existence, we achieved this kind of results. So it's really important to hear good words from Agne.
Awesome. She was pumped to be able to share. We love starting with that and hearing how other people think about the people we chat with. So that's awesome. I'm glad we got to share that. So tell us a little bit. I'd love to know, one of my favorite questions to ask people is, if I knew you in middle school, would I have known you'd be here?
Probably no. I mean, I was very active and I was not so super good person in the school, but I think those kind of people are doing business. They are entrepreneurs. They're super energetic, not maybe the best learners, let's say not the best students, but always trying to do something, it's like this.
What were some of the things you were trying to do when you were younger, like middle school, like when you were a kid?
My passion was basketball. I really wanted to be basketball player, because we are from Lithuania, and Lithuania is like a religion. The basketball is a religion. So all, let's say, boys, they wanted to be like, NBA players, something like that. It's like a top sport in our country. So I spent a lot of time in the streets playing street ball and etc. Still, by the way, I'm playing basketball, but yeah, this was my main dream, and and biggest passion.
That is crazy you mentioned that. One of my best friends, his name is Eustace. He's from Lithuania.
Okay.
And him and his brothers, he told me that in Lithuania, 3-on-3 tournaments are like a huge thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever play 3-on-3 or anything like that?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I'm still playing 3-on-3 tournaments. I mean, I'm 39-year-old, but still, I mean, every summer, at least 2-3 tournaments we are playing. Lithuania, by the way, they won bronze in Olympics, 3-on-3. Now, of course, US people are saying, no, but we didn't brought the biggest stars, and etc. And I believe in LA, it's the next Olympics, the winner will be you. But still, Lithuania won the bronze in 3-on-3. It's Olympic sport this year. So, yeah, nice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. He talked about, he's like, I played so much because he and I play on 3-on-3 tournament here every year. There's like a charity event that we do and we play together. So it's wild. And then we play Thursday mornings together too. So that's nuts. I didn't know, I didn't know you hooped too. I played in college as well. So I love basketball too.
Nice. I mean, you can bring a lot of things from sport to business. I mean, in general, yeah, you need to be, strong, have good acceleration, etc. But sport psychology, I mean, winner mentality is a big part of the game. And with this kind of mindset and winner mentality, the same is in business. You can have any skill, any knowledge, but without attitude, without any winner mentality, without this kind of believe that doesn't matter how much failures you will, have, doesn't matter. You need to go on, move forward. You will not achieve a lot of in business. So there are a lot of similarities between sport and business. And that's why probably there are a lot of sport people who are becoming very good business people in reverse situation. So, yeah.
Yeah, I could not agree more. My whole team is only former athletes. So I very much love athletes and athletics as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of athletics, something that, in my opinion, athletics helps you a lot with is like failing and getting back up and trying again. So there's been quite a few times where you have potentially failed or had to overcome failure in your professional life. What do you believe has made you so resilient? And what would you say the worst failure or the hardest lesson you've had to learn has been so far?
I mean, the most important is don't focus on the past. You fail and then you're just doing the next things. Sometimes I'm even forgetting the, let's say, yesterday failures, because I'm just forgetting. There are people, for example, my wife, she's overthinking, she's always thinking about the past decisions, and etc. Maybe she's regretting, maybe she could do differently, and etc. I don't care, I failed already. I learned some mistake, some lesson, let's say, and that's it. I'm moving forward. It was a lot of failures. I mean, on personal life, on business life, not so many failures still on Pulsetto side. It was some issues, let's say, etc. But like I said, I mean, I'm mostly thinking about the future, and I'm not thinking so much about failures. And you ask what was the biggest failure? I even don't remember, because I'm focusing on the next things, so I'm forgetting all those mistakes and etc.
Like that. How do you, if you forget about them so fastly, how do you learn from them?
It's a very good sentence that when you're making first, let's say, when you're making mistake once, it's a lesson. When you're repeating the same twice, it's already failed. Yeah. So this is how I learn. I mean, if, for example, I hire some person and this person didn't perform because of me, for sure, it's not like a failure. It's a lesson. So I learned that, I needed maybe better onboarding, or on interview level, I need to ask more behavior-based questions, just to understand more deeply, about this person's skills and etc. And that's it. And next time I'm not repeating, but I'm not thinking maybe I don't hire anymore the people because maybe I can fail and then one more time, etc. So I still believe that the most important is not to repeat the same, let's say, lessons, the same mistakes, because then it's mistake, Otherwise, it's like a lesson. In Silicon Valley, there is even a term that if you are entrepreneur and you failed, it's experienced entrepreneur. And there are a lot of stories how, for example, the guys are wasting 50 million VC money, and next day they're creating new company, and the same VC is investing in this guy who just burned 50 millions of the fund money because it's experience, So I think this is the main mentality, what we need to be as a people, Don't think about the past so much, focus on the future, what next you can do.
I like that. Feedback, not failure. That's a great mentality to have, especially as a startup founder.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us about this 200 night experiment. You tested more than 70 sleep hacks. Where did the inspiration come from this? And talk about like the study design and like what. It's all about
Yeah.
that. It sounds awesome.
Yeah. I was working in corporate. If I was working in sleep product industry, basically in companies was selling like mattresses, pillows, whatever, this kind of stuff. At the same time, I was very bad sleeper. I mean, it was time that I was sleeping like 4 hours per night. And then I had some issues, not only because of sleep, but also because of bad behavior of my, let's say, health, lifestyle, eating habits, and etc. And then, when I was 29 years old, so 10 years ago, the doctors wrote me Xanax because of panic attacks, because of huge overweight and etc. And I decided that I need to do something because, and the best what I could do, I start from sleep because I worked in this industry. And for me, this was my personal interest for my personal health. But at the same time, it was interest for the business because I believe that not only mattress, or not only pillow, not only bedding sheet or whatever, makes the great sleep. There are some other factors, and etc. And then I read, let's say, bunch of articles, bunch of studies, and I listed 70 things which has some kind of scientific proof. Yeah. And I started to use those things several nights in a row and to see how it's changing my sleep behaviors. At that moment, it was not a lot of trackers who are tracking the let's say, sleep parameters. So I just tracked the sleep, let's say, quantity. But after that, I bought Aura Ring. I'm one of the first users of Aura, and
Nice.
I checked everything. I mean, all those trends with some data and etc. And I remember the first thing was fruit kiwi, because there are several scientific studies saying that if you're eating kiwi before bed, you will sleep better. There is a lot of like a theoretical explanations why and etc. Let's not go deeper in this topic, but so I ate kiwi for 3 evenings in a row, and I just thought, is it really doing some kind of, let's say, changes on my benchmark of sleep quantity and sleep quality or no? So I tested 70 those kind of factors. Some of them was totally bullshit. Some of them really game changers. I tested a lot of food related stuff, food and supplement related stuff, a lot of, let's say, bedroom related stuff, a lot of body related stuff. To some of my experiments, my wife a little bit looked at me strange. For example, I was 3 nights in a row, I was surrounded with some specific flowers, because there are some studies that some specific flowers, they're cleaning the air, and that's why it's good for the sleep. I was 3 nights in a row, I was drinking huge amount of caffeine. I just wanted to see what kind of
Coffee?
coffee. Yeah, I mean caffeine in general. What kind of negative effect it can bring to me. 3 nights in a row, I drank alcohol just to see also. I was sleeping on the ground. I just wanted to see the mattress effect, on the sleep. So a lot of strange things, but and a lot of really nice and let's say game-changing things. So it was nice experiment. Yeah.
So what were the top 3 things that you're still doing today from that experiment to help you sleep better?
Yeah, so first of all, light. I will not say probably nothing new, but darkness. I mean, the blue light control is the super game changer. I realized, I mean, the most important thing that I realized, that there are game changers, like must to do, and not game changers. For example, pistachios. Yeah, there are some nuts. You can read on Google or whatever that in those nuts you can find some melatonin, which is very important for the sleep and etc. But I calculated you need to eat 400 grams of those pistachios in order to provide the same amount of melatonin that you can do with 2 hours of darkness before the sleep. Is it? I mean, so pistachios is not a game changer. I mean, it's impossible to eat 400 grams of pistachios. Yeah. So it's better to minimize the darkness. I mean, minimize the light source and maximize the darkness, and you will achieve more result than, let's say, 400 grams of pistachios. So this is the game changer. So the darkness is for sure the game changer. Then the cooling effect of the room is very important, especially around, let's say, 19 Celsius. In Fahrenheit it's a little bit different, but it must be cooler comparing to your daily, let's say, temperature on the. Then very important is the stress, because stress is the antagonist of the cortisol. I mean, cortisol is antagonist of the melatonin. So you need to do something with stress, at least 5-7 minutes before bed. It can be breathing exercise, it can be sauna, it can be whatever. It can be pulsetto, it can be meditation. Doesn't matter, but you need to do something like that. And you need to have routine. I have routine. It's 10-3-2-1. So I have like a specific routine. I'm switching this routine several times per week. So what I'm doing 10 hours before sleep, 3, 2, and 1. So you need to have your own routine. So those are 3, 4, let's say, biggest game-changing factors for your behavior. If you're talking about sleep quantity or sleep quality.
Love that. So darkness, cold, and just for Fahrenheit people out there, 18 is about 64, 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So, so dark, cold, and reduce stress before going to sleep in some way.
And to have some routine. Let's say my routine is 10 hours before sleep. I am avoiding caffeine and alcohol. It means that day I'm not consuming alcohol, and let's say the last coffee is after lunch. 3 hours before bed, some physical activity. It can be, I don't know, just walking or whatever. 2 hours before bed, trying to minimize the maximize the darkness and then cooling the room. In our case, we have klima, so we just putting the air conditioning, that's it. And 1 hour before bed, some stress exercise. Doesn't matter. I mean, breathing or pulsetto or whatever. So this is the way how I'm doing. But like I said, I'm doing not every day, but like 3-4 times per week. This kind of routine.
Hell yeah. And sleep is improved. You're sleeping awesome now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to my, let's say, sleep scores and structure of the sleep, so how many deep sleep and how many rapid eye movement sleep I have, I mean, the quality of sleep, it's quite nice. The sleep quality, it can be better. The sleep quantity, it can be better. Like I could sleep maybe more, but I'm a business person, so sometimes I'm waking up and I'm motivated already to jump, on my business, and that's why sometimes I maybe lack 30 minutes of additional sleep, and so.
I definitely feel that 100%. So you study sleep and you study neuromodulation, which we'll get into here in a little bit. How did you get into this? Like, I don't even know what it's like in Lithuania. Is there a degree you get into? Is there a master's or PhD program you went into that got you interested in this kind of stuff?
I was deep in sleep research, and this kind of biohacks and etc. But at the same time, my wife, she has cluster head pains. It's like, I don't know, 10x migraine. It's like 10 times stronger than migraine. Those pains, they appears like 1 or twice per year, usually during the night. But the pain is such strong. I mean, the other name of this pain is suicidal pain. I mean, she's like waking up in the middle of the night and just rocking on the bed, and I'm trying to say, so maybe I can help. And she said, don't touch me. I mean, the pain is like somebody cutting your head with a knife, something like that. And of course, we tried a lot of things with this, but there are no treatment, basically. I mean, the best treatment at that moment was like oxygen balloons, because oxygen can increase the blood cells and bloodstream, and then it can decrease those pains. And then 5 years ago, I read a few articles that vagus nerve stimulation can minimize, or in some cases even treat the cluster head pains. So this is how I just started to dig deeper in this topic. And then my first question for myself was, who is the best expert in Lithuania in this topic? And this is how I met my co-founder, Povilas, because Povilas, at that moment, he worked with invasive vagus nerve stimulators, because there are around 300,000 people in the world who have implantable vagus nerve stimulators. And those implantable stimulators, there's like a biggest and best treatment of epilepsy. So at that moment, he worked with these devices, with the doctors and etc., with the operations, the surgeries, and etc. And this is how we met like 5 years ago. I started to talk with him, and 2 years after that, after this first meeting, we created the company. So this is how we went to non-invasive wearable method of the vagus nerve stimulation.
Nice. So his background is in invasive vagus nerve stimulation, and
he's
the deeper science
engineer from the background, let's say, level, and with specific experience working with doctors and the surgeries of the vagus nerve stimulation device.
And then your wife was like, you're out here, you're a guy trying to help his wife not have cluster headaches anymore. What a man.
Yeah, but still, I mean, we didn't, let's say, in our case, still we are a wellness device. It's not like a medical device. So we cannot claim, for example, that we can treat cluster head pain, because this is like a medical device claim. But at least I know that I have weapon in my, in my hands, and at home, that when those pains will appear, because they are appearing, like I said, once or twice per year, sometimes once per 2 years, and etc., that it will be smaller, not such a strong pains, and etc. And this is the best feeling, that you're creating some kind of, valuable thing, not only commercial thing, for the community and for your most loved persons.
Yeah. What a reason to start a company. I love that. The other thing that vagus nerve stimulation has been shown to help with, at least in clinical studies with invasive VNS, is anxiety. Have you ever struggled with anxiety? Is there any stories around anxiety or how you will overcome it yourself?
I had, like I said, I had panic attacks when I was 29. Then when I started this sleep hacks and biohacking and testing and etc. And I remember, so the doctors just wrote me shortcut like Xanax. This is the best way. And I tried Xanax. I remember the first time it was like 5 minutes, and then you're complete relaxed, and calm and etc. But then I think I remember I called to my mother, and my mother, she studied medicine, and she said, Xanax 29, are you crazy? It's addictive. You will increase the dosage every time. Now you need this. Come on. I mean, after 2 weeks, you will need bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I canceled the usage of the Xanax after 2 weeks or 1 week or something like that. And then I realized that it's a quite addictive stuff, and there are a lot of people in the world, and majority of our customers, they have chronic problems. They're not biohack. I mean, we have biohackers as the first, let's say, users and etc. But now majority of people, they have chronic stress, they have panic attacks, they have sleep issues and etc. And mostly they're using strong opioids or let's say drugs and etc. But it's a lot of side effects. Comparing with electric stimulation devices or other stimulation devices, first of all, it's the biggest side effect that you have you're becoming addicted. In US especially, this opioid crisis is such a big that the deaths related with let's say strong drugs usage is increasing every year. For sure. With electricity, you will not create you cannot be addicted from electric stimulation, let's say, or from other stuff. So that's why I believe that it must be alternatives. That's why those breathing exercises, yoga, Wim Hof, cold showers, they're not creating addiction. So that's why I'm a big believer in this kind of things. And only then, if it's not working, let's say, then you need to go to the drugs. The same with sleep. I have a lot of people who have like insomnia, for example, yeah? And it's normal that before you're going on some medicaments, you need to go, for example, cognitive behavior therapy. There is 6 weeks therapy, and only after that, if this therapy is not helping you, not changing the behavior, then the doctor is prescribing you like, Ambien or whatever, So I think this must be the approach, not shortcut approach that this is drug, relax, let's go.
I agree with that. I work with a lot of people with anxiety, high functioning anxiety. Anxious achievers is who I usually am working with.
Yeah.
And they've got Xanax and all sorts of things that are doing all sorts of wild things in their brain. And then they try to get off of them, and the withdrawals are so bad that it increases their anxiety as they're getting off of them. And so they're like, oh crap, my anxiety is worse. So they get back on, and it's just this negative loop. So that's awesome. I agree. I have nothing against people who need help and
for sure,
use those things, but I agree 100% going the natural path as much as possible.
Even statistics shows that let's say electric stimulation, because there is a big market. It's not only about vagus nerve stimulation. There are deep brain stimulators, for example, so alternative for the Parkinson treatment. There is spinal cord stimulators for the people who have like a very strong chronic injuries, when the Morpheus or strong opioids is not helping anymore. But still, the statistic is that 70% of cases that electric stimulation helps for the people. So there are 30% of cases that it's not helping, But the same with drugs. It's not 100% success rate in case of opioids or whatever. So, yeah.
So tell us about Pulsetto. Tell us about your specific version of vagus nerve stimulation and neuromodulation. Like, what is it? How'd you get into it? Like, tell us a little bit about Pulsetto.
So Pulsetto basically is this kind of wearable device you're putting on the neck like this, switching on this button, and then you can control the device with the app. So it's connected with the mobile application, let's say. It's creating quite deep electric signal, goes under the muscle to the nerve level and activates the nerve in 5-7 minutes, depend on the stimulation mode, on intensity level, and etc. So it's quite fast, quite effortless. You see, I can speak at the same time I can do this stimulation. So you don't need to wear this device like for hours. Usually our typical user is wearing like a twice per day, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. So in total, like a 10, 15 minutes per day. The neck, why we chose the neck area? Because the vagus nerve itself is not like a one wire. It's like a 160,000 fibers or like a network of fibers. Quite a lot. I mean, approximately more than 50% of fibers are here on the both neck sides, neck areas. It's also quite strong here in the ear region. And then the vagus nerve goes basically in every organ. The branches of the nerve is attached to the basically to all the organs. So when you're activating this nerve, there are several things that are happening. First, we spoke about a little bit about those migraine things. So why, for example, migraine and cluster head pains? Because when you're activating the nerve, you're increasing the level of acetylcholine. This is the neurotransmitter which participates in the inflammation pathways. And also acetylcholine helps to release the nitric oxide, which is, opening the blood vessels and etc. That's why it's quite good for the migraine. And also, like I said, it's an inflammation pathways. So, for example, there are devices already in the market, vagus nerve stimulators, who can treat, for example, arthritis, because arthritis is the joint pain, also very much inflammation related and etc. And the second role of the vagus nerve, besides this inflammation pathways, is the parasympathetic nervous system activation. We have fight and flight, this adrenaline mode nervous system, and then rest and digest system. So when we are relaxed, when our muscles are relaxed, when our heart rate is decreasing, when our blood pressure is decreasing, and we just ready for digestion and rest. So this is the main nerve of this. So in other words, it's relaxing you, it's decreasing your heart rate. It's also in some cases good for the digestion because it's also related to the saliva increasement and etc. But mainly, there are a lot of proofs that vagus nerve stimulation drops your heart rate and increases heart rate variability. Those two metrics, which are responsible for, let's say, this parasympathetic nervous system and in general, let's say, wellness and well-being of restful and this digestive state.
I like that. So, is it possible to tell us a little bit more about vagus nerve stimulation in general? Like, is it possible to activate or stimulate your vagus nerve without Pulsetto? I know it's important to use it, but
all the techniques which are related with the neck or this region is very good. And let's say breathing, it's typical because the breathing activates all those, let's say, vagus nerve fibers and etc. There are a lot of breathing techniques. Let's say, from the scientific point of view, you need to breathe at least 20 minutes in order to make some activation of the fibers. Depends on the breathing technique, let's say, but typical is like 15-20 minutes. Then, for example, cold showers, they are doing quite similar effect, especially if it's connected with some face or neck region. Quite similar effect. It's also activating the parasympathetic nervous system, and part of the system is the vagus nerve. Big part of the vagus nerve. Then, for example, there is some specific techniques which are related with the jaw massage, with the neck massage, and etc. It can also do it. Singing, say humming, it's a some specific way. It's like it's also part of the vagus nerve activation. Balloon inflation. There are some kind of let's say studies about balloon inflation and the way. So everything what is related with this kind of area, it's a big part. Even acupuncture in this kind of regions can be part of the vagus nerve stimulation. But most best known thing is the breathing, because it's also related with the vagus nerve activation.
The vagus nerve actually also has the most oxytocin receptors of any nerve in your nervous system, and so doing social connection or like hanging out with loved ones or things like that can also activate it as well. So you don't have to be doing things to yourself. You could be hanging out with friends and family too. So
yeah, exactly.
That's lots of fun ways to activate the vagus nerve. It's interesting too. Cold showers activate, or it's an interesting back and forth between sympathetic, parasympathetic. Because you at first it's very sympathetic, and then doing the breathing.
The same with sauna, by the way. If you're measuring yourself, let's say in sauna, you will see that during the sauna process, your, let's say, blood pressure is increasing dramatically, your heart rate is increasing dramatically, you're activating this fight and flight. But after that, the same with cold showers, the numbers are dropping to lower than benchmark level. So that's why, I'm saying that, when you're doing it, you're activating different system. But after that, the response after that is activating this parasympathetic, this rest and digest system.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. So there's all these other ways that you can do this. What makes Pulsetto better than all these other ways? Or is it just an additional way to
It
activate
can be
it?
additional, but people are lazy. So, for example, there are not so many people who, let's say, a lot of our customers, they just can't meditate. For me,
Really?
you know, in the beginning, it seemed, okay, why people cannot meditate? But in reality, if you want to meditate, you need like a dedicated environment, practice, you know, and etc. Some people don't have time to breathe 20 minutes, you know, to activate. Some people just feel not comfortable, go to the cold showers. You know, a lot of people, they know the benefits of cold shower, but a lot of people just afraid or feel, let's say, and this is the way that even on the super noisy environment, you can do this activation. I mean, you can multitask. You can be in the meeting, and make a vagus nerve activation with a pulsetto. You can do it with meditation. Yeah, you need for the meditation, you need like a super silent, perfect room, you know, no noise, no distractions, and etc. So I believe this is the point, the multitasking point, the effortless point, and the fast point. That always with electricity, always with all devices, electricity will be always the fastest way to achieve something. So that's why, you know, the 5 minutes versus 20 minutes of breathing. If you're doing twice per day, it's already counting quite a lot of, you know, minutes. So the fast and effortless approach, probably there are two main things why.
Have you done the 200-night study? Like not literally, but like where you're comparing different types of vagus nerve stimulation, like whether it's breathing or cold shower or sauna or all the different things that you are
I
humming?
just
Like,
made HRV study because HRV is now a super trendy metric, very complex metric, by the way. It's a heart rate variability. I don't know how much your audience now knows about it, but
pretend like they know nothing about it and just tell them about it.
I mean, basically, it's a like a main representator of the vagus nerve strength. So the stronger the vagus nerve, the more stress resilience you have. It means that, for example, if you face some kind of stressful situation, you will react better, you know? So you face some kind of enemy or threat and etc., you can switch parasympathetic nervous system faster, you know, comparing with the person who don't have stress resilience. So the vagus nerve strength represents the number of HRV. So the higher the HRV, the better for you. Averagely, let's say people have around 50 HRV. So if you have more than 50, it's already quite a good sign. If you have more than 80, it's already, let's say, elite. If you have more than 100, you are like a super performer, which means that if you have, let's say, 80 or 100 HRV, it means that you can switch very fast parasympathetic nervous system. Doesn't matter in what kind of fight and flight mode you will be, because on daily level, we are constantly in 20, 50 times per day on fight and flow mode. Yeah, any Slack message, any driver, always trying to, you know, make you negative emotions. The most important is how fast we can switch to rest and digest. Yeah. And those people who have chronic stress, they just don't know anymore how to switch back to the so HRV represents the strength of the nerve, or let's say stress muscle, the stress resilience, let's say, and etc. So I just made a study. I mean, not study, like this experiment with HRV, like I did with sleep stuff. I tested around 15 things for HRV. But HRV, first of all, it's very complex metrics, not dependable only on the, let's say, vagus nerve stimulation and etc. For example, alcohol consumption can drop HRV very much. Those who wearing, let's say, Aura know very, very, very good that even one glass of wine will drop your HRV level next morning. So it means that if you're drinking alcohol and wearing Pulsetto, you cannot expect miracle from Pulsetto. It's not a magic stick, you know. The same with sleep. If you have bad night's sleep, you will not recover well, so your HRV for sure will be, you know, lower. Matter of vagus nerve stimulation or whatever. So I tested 15 things. Yeah, I mean, there are some kind of conclusions, you know. But for example, one big factor beside vagus nerve stimulation, things like breathing and etc., is heart rate in general. The lower the heart rate you have, the bigger typically HRV you have. It means that you need to train your heart, and what it means that you need to spend more time in zone 2, because the biggest way how you can train the heart is just by cardio, let's say, zone 2 exercises. So it's quite deep. We are going to this topic. It's deeper and deeper. It's it's not only about the vagus nerve and let's say breathing and sauna and etc., but it's also about your general cardiovascular, let's say, fitness and.
So based on that, who is, because we're talking about like a lot of elite athletes, we're talking about like these research studies with these wild people. Who is Pulsetto made for? Like, and what is your dream outcome for those people?
We believe that it's a everyday usage product. It's like a mental toothbrush. And we really want that it will be the same like the toothbrush. You are doing it twice per day. Yeah. Like typically, at least, I hope. It's in the morning, in the evening. Yeah. I don't know, 3-5 minutes, something like that. We believe the same is with your mental health. Yeah. Because all what we are talking, this parasympathetic nervous system, this inflammation, it's all about your mental health. And mental health is the organ, is this the samely important organ, like I don't know, your heart, your brain, your leg, your hand, and etc. So you need to take care of the mental health, yeah. And we believe that you need to do it like a twice per day while you're brushing the teeth, because you can multitask, and this can create a lot of benefits for you. It doesn't matter, are you healthy and you just want to optimize, let's say, your HRV, increase the stress muscle, and etc., or you have bad condition, if you have like a panic attack or sleep issues or some chronic stress, or you using Xanax or using what doesn't matter, what. So we believe that's for every person,
And so when someone's wearing this, what are they necessarily experiencing as they're going through this? So are they really feeling it like physically, or if they're measuring their HRV, they could see it? Or
first of all, from the feeling side, if you ever use this, let's say, muscle stimulators in rehab, you have these injuries, and then you're putting those muscle stimulators which connects the muscle memory. So the feeling is very similar. You're feeling like a gentle, I don't know, vibration or some needles on the skin, but it's like a gentle, it's not a shock or something like that. So it's electricity. You feel electricity going through your skin, let's say, and something like that. In case of measurement, if you are measuring with any device, I don't know, Apple can see that the changes. For example, in case of heart rate, you can see quite fast. In case of HRV, like I said, it's complex metric. It's not dependable on one thing, it's dependent on a lot of things. But in a lot of cases, you see immediately the effect. Now, what we are implementing in our app, we are implementing API from those most wearable devices. So if you have like Aura, Garmin, Watch, and those like most popular wearable devices, you can see, if you agree to share the data with our app, you will see the changes of your heart rate and heart rate variability during and after stimulation, and etc. We want to show this to the end user, and then in the long term, we want to show that, look, your benchmark of heart rate is this. If you want to improve it, this is the protocol. So it means that you need to do for 2 weeks this amount of Pulsetto. But beside this stimulations, you also need to do some behavioral changes. Yeah, because like I said, it's not only about the vagus stimulation, it's also about alcohol consumption, sleep, breathing, and etc. So we want really to help to change those metrics with the stack of things, what we are recommending.
Nice.
And we are implementing AI also who will do this job, because it will be a lot of raw data, and no human being will control this data.
I love when devices like this, or founders of devices like this, are pushing for a holistic approach and not just saying, my device will do everything for you. Like I very much love to hear the realistic perspective. Like, there's other things that could really help. Not just Pulsetto.
Exactly. But I mean, it's not magic stick, like I said. I mean, we are not like the human being itself. It's a super complex, organ, let's say, or bunch of organs. So it's implanting each other, different nervous system, different hormonic systems, and etc. So the same with, I don't know, with all good wearables like Oura Ring, they're also giving the data. They're also giving some suggestions, but they're not saying that the Aura is the best. No, if you want to improve your heart, you need to, I don't know, walk, not only measure, If you want to improve your sleep, you need to avoid the alcohol, not only to measure. I mean, it's normal. So the same with us.
Right. So something that I'm curious about, that I love to ask about, and we always ask everyone about, is research that goes behind on some of this kind of stuff. One of the things couple things, general vagus nerve stimulation is invasive, like you mentioned early. earlier, the transsubcutaneous or like above
Yeah.
the skin, outside the body type of vagus nerve stimulation is newer. Is there research that has been done on that type of vagus nerve stimulation specifically, or with Pulsetto specifically?
Non-invasive stimulation already now have around 8,000 studies. 8,000. A lot. And some of the things non-invasive stimulation devices cannot do comparing with the invasive stimulation devices. For example, epilepsy or stroke treatment, it's impossible at this moment that because the signal is not reaching the activation of some specific C-level fibers and etc. It's too deep. In case of us, of Pulsetto, we made 3 studies, small studies, but still studies. And now we in the process in Europe to do huge 100 people study. We just got bioethic certification, which allows to start to recruit the patients and etc. It will be huge, big
Wow.
study. But those 3 small studies, first was that we proved that we are changing the heart rate and heart rate variability. So we proved that we are influencing the parasympathetic nervous system because this is like the main biomarkers of this. The latest one was with migraine people. It's my personal interest and etc. So in 64% of cases, we changed the level of pain, or it was completely disappear or decreased, which is very measurable stuff. Yeah, especially if you have migraine. With heart rate or heart variability, it's depends on your device and etc. With pain, it's very easy to measure. Is it decreased or does it disappear or no? Results. And the last study we made with bacterial disease patients, those have very strong joint pain, like back stiffness, also related with inflammation. We also wanted to see how vagus nerve is influencing the acetylcholine. And very interesting study. We measure blood test and the levels of the acetylcholine in the bloodstream after the stimulation. So really nice, interesting data, which also allow us to say that it can be clinically we can prove that not only heart rate and heart rate variability will changes during the stimulation, but also some kind of chemical things in your body. And this is how we want to go further, and we want to be medical device in one of those areas after this big.
Nice. So you are looking to become a medical device and push into that medical device space.
We want to have 2 products, basically. One will be wellness device, this what we have right now, and this device just will upgrade based on the feedback what we are receiving from the customers. Now, for example, second version of the product we will launch Q1 next year. So it will be new versions, so like better, more user-friendly and etc. But the second product, which may look similar visually, but it will be medical device, with medical status, and etc. Theoretically, now we uploaded 8 different electric signals here. We can upload up to 100 different signals. And the most fascinating fact that this vagus nerve, like I said, is 160,000 fibers. And when you're activating different type of fibers, you're reaching different benefits. So some fibers are responsible for inflammation and acetylcholine. Some fibers are responsible for heart rate changes and this parasympathetic nervous system. So this is the most interesting part, that specific electric signals, like a specific voltage, amplitude, pulse wave, and etc., activating the specific fibers can do specific things. So this is the most interesting part, and that's why I said we want to upload 100 different signals, and you will have one device for 20 conditions. And that's why I'm saying that it's like a mental toothbrush. You don't need to wear 20 devices, for 20 different things, but you can just choose on the app different electric signal to activate a different level or type of vagus nerve fibers. But this is our, let's say, goal and mission, with this medical device,
right. Where you want to get to. Yeah, that's interesting. Activating individual nerve fibers is a very intricate, hard to do process. So that would be.
Yeah, but for example, these guys, what I mentioned now, there is a device, they're trying to activate near the spleen specific fibers, which are responsible for inflammation, for the and treating arthritis. But they're precisely targeting specific near the spleen existing vagus nerve fiber. So, this is where the medicine of the vagus nerve stimulation and neuromodulation is going. It's like a more precise, more understandable of this nerve, and there are still a lot of unknowns things. That's why we need researchers, and other stuff.
So the studies that you did, talk me through, what was their design? How many participants was it? who did the studies? Like what was some of the stats around the studies?
I mean, last, for example, with migraine, we did with 15 people. Those previous, what I mentioned too, with vectoric and parasympathetic nervous system, it was 12 people. We made with our partners in Lithuania. It's like a university who are doing these studies. But like I said, I mean, those studies really not allowing us to get medical device status or to claim something, what we cannot claim. For example, in general, there is claim that vagus nerve stimulation can treat depression. It's FDA approval, but we cannot do it because we don't have that data, or that vagus nerve stimulation can treat cluster head pains. We cannot claim this, So that's why, I mean, these mini studies are like limiting. It's more for ourselves and let's say little bit for, let's say, marketing for our team, let's say, and where to go deeper in the big clinical trial. So it's allowing us to understand in which areas we need to go with this existing big trial, let's say, where we are planning to have.
Got it. So some smaller studies or research that you've tried to do yourselves internally, but in the future you're trying to get bigger subject size, maybe do some. I mean, it'd be cool to see the placebo-controlled studies for y'all for this device specifically.
So this big clinical trial, this one, approximately in bioethic certification, we are talking about 100 people study with sham, so it means placebo, not placebo. But beside this, we will do those mini studies. We'll continue. We'll work on two fronts, let's say, because there is quite interesting now. We are quite interesting mini study with sport people doing about HRV and recovery after hard trainings or hard competitions. The same with military. We are doing mini study with let's say PTSD patients after ex-veterans and etc. It's mini. I mean, we'll continue this also, but the big one, takes longer time. It's like a 1.5 year duration, with a sham, with a control group, and etc. So it's like a long process.
Heck yeah. So there's lots in the docket coming up, like really, really legit study. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you balance marketing and the claims that you can make marketing wise with like harder science? Because science communication is tricky. And so I would love to just hear your perspective on being the founder of a neurotech device. How do you balance those things out and talk about marketing?
We are saying we are a wellness device, like majority of, let's say, scaling devices, majority of them are wellness devices. I don't know, you can name it whatever you want. For example, Muse is the most popular, let's say, EEG brain device. It's a wellness device. They don't have any medical claims, but they're speaking about brain waves, and what kind of brain waves they're sharing, but they're a wellness device. So we are also saying, in the long term, it will be neurotech, let's say, but at this moment, we are a wellness device. We are not claiming depression. We are not claiming those medical claims, but we are talking about changes of the heart rate. We are talking about stress. We are talking about sleep, any mattress innovation like 8 Sleep or whatever. They are not medical device, but they're claiming that you will sleep better, and etc. So, but we cannot claim that we will treat insomnia, for example, which is the medical condition.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the way, but we are not speaking that we are a medical company at this moment. We are a wellness company. Like, I don't know, any wearable device is wellness company. Any majority of, by the way, vagus nerve stimulators are wellness companies. Sensate, for example, is a wellness company, and other guys, So yeah,
it's awesome. We talked to Ariel, from the founder of Muse, last week. They're awesome. They use Muse a lot in like clinical research and things like that too. So it's cool to see some of these consumer devices starting to be used in research in general as well. So I think it's cool. I love it. I love these types of devices and people trying to innovate. The thing that sometimes people get over their skis on some of their claims though, and that's where we like to really question some of those types of things. And
I agree. But at the same time, also to be only medical device is also not good. You're limiting yourself.
Yes.
You are, for example, you are only prescribed, for example, and then you're limiting your sales channels and etc. So that's why I'm saying that we will be two devices. Yeah. So we will not be like when we will get medical device, we will switch that. Now we are only medical device company. We believe that in wellness industry we can grow fast, because consumer wants to do some treatments at home, and etc. And the digitalization of the medicine is becoming like the same like in fintech. The banks became more friendly, and etc. So it's like it's trend. You will not. I mean, it will be done. All those what you are getting in hospitals, you will get at home. It's normal. After 5-10 years, it will be all the stuff. At home. But at the same time, yeah, we want to be more science, more medical, and etc. So it will be two products. Because to have only one product, it's also not a good strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard that strategy before, but I love that. I think that's amazing. You can help in the medical side, and the research on the medical side could slowly be shifted over to the consumer side. Like it's really interesting. Speaking of consumers, what are some of the most common skepticisms you get about Pulsetto? Like what are some of the most common things people say or they're skeptical
Snake
about?
oil. I mean, people still don't understand. I mean, when we started 5 years ago, the first discussion, I remember we searched on the YouTube vagus nerve stimulation. It was like 3 videos. Now the trend that every day is like 100 videos about the vagus, and now everybody's claiming that I don't know, doesn't matter what you are doing, it's a vagus nerve stimulation. Yeah, it's quite trendy, but still a lot of people, if you're asking, let's say 10 people, just randomly, do you know about the vagus nerve stimulation? I know 3 people will say, yeah, I know, I heard something. Still, there is a lot of education. And there are a lot of people who are just, what? What's vagus nerve stimulation? Vagus nerve? Do we have it at all this kind of stuff, in our body? This is the biggest part, because for those people, it seems that some kind of crazy, trendy stuff, and that's it, and nobody believes in it. It's not, I mean, it's not like, I don't know, hormones, yeah? Majority of people know about hormones, or majority of people I know about, I don't know, lymph or still the vagus nerve is quite unknown area, so that's why. And I believe that we are competing not with like a direct competitors, like with other devices, but we are competing with alternatives, yeah, which has bigger trends, like meditation, for example. It's well-known stuff, yeah, or for example, CBD, yeah, it's well-known stuff. A lot of money was, put in the marketing on, or for example, those meditation apps like Headspace and Coma, they have hundreds of million marketing budgets. So we are competing with this, guys, and those alternatives, and etc. Because we are trying to educate that the vagus nerve is like it's a normal, thing, and it's quite universal stuff in your body.
Right. Yeah, no, I I have a degree in neuroscience, and I can promise you that the vagus nerve is a legit cranial nerve. It's called the wandering nerve, and it's very much a thing. So that's interesting. And the other thing, the electricity piece is where I would bet y'all get some uh some skepticism. Like when I talked to my mom that I was having this interview, and she's like, "Wait, it shocks you?" I was like, "Mom, your nerve system is electrochemical.
Yeah.
Your nerves are they have electricity that send signals throughout your body and things like that. So it's not that far off, and it makes a lot of sense." So
yeah, it's also people's afraid of electricity because it seems for them, it's like it will kill you and etc. But yeah, we are electrical human beings. At the same time, we are chemical human beings. So it's very interesting that electricity creates some chemical signals in your body. So it's like I said, everything is connected. It's like very complex. And etc.
Right. Well, hopefully, it sounds like there's tons and tons of research on like invasive vagus nerve stimulation type stuff, and hopefully more research starts to come out around like non-invasive stimulation, like y'all as well, to help combat some of the skepticism that people have. It sounds like you're leading the charge on some of that research too, so I'm excited to hear some of that.
There are
Speaking
other leaders. Sorry for interruption, but there is one company in US. They have 81 clinical trial already with vagus nerve non-invasive stimulation. So it's a medical device, by the way. So, but yeah, they are already 10 or 15 years in the market, and they really, I mean, making a lot of scientific proofs. Also targeting the neck region, by the way, with vagus nerve. We respect very much this company, and because they are like flagmans of the non-invasive vagus nerve stimulation.
All right, hell yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And no competitors,
to
just
respect the community, let's say, because we are on the same boat, and we are all of us. We are trying to educate the knowledge about this nerve.
thing. What a beautiful way to look at something like that. I like that. Speaking of studies, if you had to do another 200-night or 200-day experiment, what would it be this time? Like, what would you do it on?
By the way, I'm collecting the new stuff. It's becoming more sophisticated, more harder, and etc. But I am collecting. I want to repeat because I did it 100 twice, so 2 times. So now I need to collect like 30 things, something like that. So for example, now on my list, he brought like tent, specific like a high altitude tent, and when you're sleeping on this tent, the level of red cells, the blood cells is increasing. I mean, quite interesting theory and etc. So this kind of stuff, it's not a kiwi anymore. It's not alcohol or caffeine. It's becoming harder things. So I really want to repeat the study. I mean, it's not a study, it's my biohacking experiment. Yeah, I'm tracking with tracker, which has some errors, and all trackers are not connecting to your brain waves and etc. But still, you see trends. Yeah. So I want to repeat next year, in the beginning maybe of the next year. Now I'm just want to collect 30 things, and it's interesting. I see that for me, it's interesting. You're focusing on your sleep. It's also very interesting because when you're focusing on your sleep, you're becoming more disciplined. Yeah. And when you're becoming more disciplined, it's automatic improving. You're improving your, let's say, quality and etc. So for me, it's good. It's good for the audience because they love this kind of interesting, crazy bullshit stuff, And I want to repeat it. Yeah,
I like that. So you've alluded to this a little bit, and you mentioned you think about the future more than anything. I would love just your vision for the future. What's the 50-year vision of the future that you have? Where for Pulsetto, for stress management, for mental health, for all these different types of things, what do you think it'll look like?
I think it even after 10 years, the same. The same with supplements. For example, I read statistic that like 5 years ago, it was 3 from 10 people use supplements every day, like vitamins and etc. Now it's like last year, it was 7 from 10. 70% of people on daily usage using some kind of supplement, like vitamin D, omega, or whatever. 5 years ago, it was educational stuff, because it was a lot of people who were saying the food, nutrition is the most important. Don't care about supplements. You need to eat the real food and etc. But you understand if you want to optimize your health, because you're not getting enough from the food or the food is changing, etc. So the same would be, I believe, with neuromodulation device. It will be a lot of people with Neuralink, Elon Musk stuff,
Hey,
There'll be a lot of people with some kind of head, devices, with Pulsetto, with some wrist, things. It will be totally normal. Like now it's normal to use supplements on daily level if you want to optimize your health, So this is like a analogy or metaphor, for me. And I think it's like it will be an everyday use product. You will not change if you will use this device and you will go on the airport with this kind of,
I like that. I'm excited for that future. So as we're bringing it in for a landing here, we have some signature questions we like to ask at the end, just so that our users kind of know what they're waiting for. The first question we love to ask people is, what's a question that you wish you were asked more often?
What next?
I like it.
I don't know. I mean, for me, it's just do it. Just do it. I love this approach. I not overthink, just do it. Maybe it's too abstract, but sometimes, I think we're thinking too much. We just need to do action. That's it.
I feel you on that, my friend. I feel you on that for sure. Okay. Next one that we like to ask people is, we talk to tons of different people, so we're really connected. So what is a partnership or connection that would really help you outside of just giving you money? Obviously.
I think some kind of sorry, it will be yeah. So
okay.
Some kind of partnership with some kind of strong brand who is in the space of stress and sleep. For example, some wearable device who can give us a lot of data, and etc. Like Aura, for example, it will be really valuable for us and for the product development itself, and etc. So we have like a list of possible partners. We are not deep right now in this topic, but we are thinking, because I'm a big believer in this kind of strategic partnership, especially in those who are working in the field of stress resilience, recovery, let's say, and etc.
Got it. Okay. The last one that we like to ask people is, every guest leaves a question for the next guest. And so the last person we talked to, his name is Ben. He runs a neurotech company that measures flow states using like a device that kind of looks like Muse, but it's a little bit different. And the question that he asked you, he's a performance scientist. And so he's studied athletes and flow states and all the things that affect that. But the question he asked you is, what is the biggest challenge with your mental performance to achieve your life goals? What has been your biggest challenge with your mental performance to achieve your life goals?
I mean, to find the balance, I think, between the work and taking care of yourself, to have some kind of routines or protocols and incorporate these routines and protocols in your super busy business environment, and to understand that besides that you need to work like a crazy, like for 12 hours, you need to dedicate time for you. the most important question, what you need to do in this kind of, 1 hour or 30 minutes for yourself in order to recover well mentally, So for me, this is the question, because otherwise it will be burnout.
It's wild that you say that, because his response, Ben from Pilot is the name of the company, his response was the same thing. He said balance.
Yeah, we are losing the balance in everything, So all this Chinese medicine, all this, let's say, this Ayurvedic medicine, if you're looking deeper to this kind of stuff, always you're looking the answer that you need to find the peace and the balance, because you're in disbalance, and disbalance creates traumas. I had 2 ACL injuries on my knees, both of them
Wow.
of disbalance. Physical disbalance, because one, let's say, muscles are stronger or weaker comparing with other muscles. So imagine if it's physical disbalance is creating the traumas, injuries. Emotional disbalance, it's creating big issues. Maybe you cannot see these issues right now. It's creating problems and that's why we have a lot of PTSD cases. We have a lot of emotional burnout cases and etc. So I believe this is the answer.
You're preaching the choir here. That's my specific research is on trauma and inflammation of the nervous system and emotional and dysregulation and things like that. So I could not agree more. We could have a whole nother podcast on that topic. Before we do that though, before I let you go, what's the question that you'd like to ask our next guest? What question do you want to leave them?
My big passion is how to measure stress and energy, because we are blaming stress and always blaming stress, cortisol, etc. But maybe, just to personalize the question, maybe what is your opinion about stress measurement? How to measure the stress? How do you see, is it possible to somehow feel like a number from the wearable device or whatever in the future, how to measure the stress and to see what makes you stressful? What kind of activities makes you stressful mostly, for example, I don't know, in the scale of 1 to 10 or in the scale of 1 to 100, because we are blaming stress too much time, but we cannot measure or feel it, So very interesting opinion, how this person sees the stress measurement topic and now and in the future, let's say.
I don't know. Okay, so how would you answer that question? We'll definitely ask them, but how would you answer that question?
I'm in deep research right now, and I believe that HRV is one of the metrics, but it's not the main metric. I don't believe so much cortisol metric, because it's like jumping from morning to evening. So I believe that if you can measure glucose levels, and now there is CGMs who can show you. I think that it must be some kind of wearable devices which are working on the same principle, also taking some kind of, I don't know, skin surface or whatever, and then they're measuring, I don't know, or cortisol or whatever to show your stress levels, let's say, and on some specific events, let's say before the meetings, after the meetings, and etc. And for me, it's really interesting. The second question, okay, if you're measuring the stress, how do you know what kind of negative impact in the long term it can create you? For example, now, if you had very stressful day, is it mean that you are decreasing your lifespan? And how much minutes, maybe how much days you decrease because of this bad day, or if you didn't recover well. So for me, this topic, this measurement and the long-term effect of the stress, it's really interesting, but I don't have answers. If I had answers, I would be the winner of the Nobel Prize or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very interested in this question as well. So I think it's a really good one to ask.
And the same is awesome. Energy. The same questions you can ask for the energy. Energy. Everybody feels the energy. Yeah. One more time, how to measure, how to calculate the impact of the energy, and etc. How to bring more energy. This for me is also a very interesting topic,
Yeah, I'm excited to aggregate a lot of these things together. Like instead of just like doing it all on just blood glucose, it'd be cool to be able to measure like HRV. It'd be cool to measure blood glucose, brain waves, like and aggregate all of that data together to see what
respiratory rate also represents some part heart rate. Yeah, it can be the mix of I don't know 5 metrics and then some score and etc. So yeah.
Right. Hell yeah, cool. Well, I'm excited. I appreciate you hopping on and having a conversation with us. This was a really cool one. Probably one of the most out there products that we've had on so far. So it was really fun to kind of dive into some of the science and hear your personal story. So just a man trying to help his wife with his cluster headaches. I love to hear that. Is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with, or any place you'd like to direct them?
Stay care of your mental health and stress resilience, this stress muscle. It's really look as a muscle, so you need to train, you need to do some techniques of stress management Yeah, so take care of yourself.
Heck yeah, cool. And is there any place you'd like them to check out? Your website, your social media, anything like that?
Yeah, you can read more about our product on pulsetto.tech. It's our official website. Also, you can find the product on Amazon. But pulsetto.tech, you can find more, let's say, data, more readings, articles, about us, about the vagus nerve, and etc. Or you can reach me directly. I'm quite active on LinkedIn, Facebook also, but yeah, this is the main channels.
Cool. And we'll definitely put that in the show notes as well. So again, thank you so much for hopping on. If you guys have not already liked and subscribed on YouTube, please do that. But otherwise, we'll see you next time on Decision Lab. Peace out, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.